Okay, Bismillah. Here we have interview number 10 with the man from Malta Archery, Armin Hirmer, if I said that correctly. Thank you, Armin, for joining us at such short notice.
It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you very much.
You heard that?
Yeah, I got a little bit. It might be a bit choppy, but we'll just continue through.
Exactly.
Great. So, Armin, just tell us a little bit. So, you might have seen some of the other videos. The idea is we're just trying to reach out to a number of key archery people around the globe, and just have a discussion with them about their speciality, their interests, and things like that. So maybe if you could just tell us a little bit about how
Frozen.
Frozen. I don't know if
Which question?
Well, I was just going I was just going to ask you about your background, how you ended up in Malta. Were you always in Malta, or when did you move there, and how did the club start, Malta Archery?
Okay, I'm born in Germany, raised in Germany. I lived a long time in Germany, obviously. Started there my archery career on my own without any teacher when I was 15 years old, and then it continued. And 7 years ago, I came to Malta because I was 1 year in Lebanon, was working there at an international school as an archery instructor. And I liked the weather there, but then I had to go back to Germany because I promised a friend to go there, and it was in Sylt, very north. And the weather was getting ugly, so I thought I need to go somewhere else. And I ended up down there in Malta, and since 7 years I'm here and happy.
Okay, that's good. And the Malta Archery, or the club that you have there, this is your full-time now, or you're still working? You have another job, or what?
It was from the beginning my full-time. It's not a club in what you usually know as from the Archery Association. It's a business. And I don't have club member fees, so you simply pay whenever you come and shoot.
Okay. So it's like an open range. Anyone can come and shoot and try
exactly.
out.
But
okay.
Of course with instructions always. So
sure.
Some newbie will come, we show him how to shoot, the safety rules, and then he can shoot.
Excellent, excellent. And where did the idea come from, or how did it start about reviewing the bows? Because I think you have obviously the widest range of bow reviews online, and many people follow you. So how did that all start?
It was a Hungarian bow builder, I think, Akos, if I'm not mistaken. He said long time ago, you could make a review of my bow and then I can promote you. And I never thought about it anymore. And then I started with this YouTube channel because we had in our indoor range, and we got a lot of posts, and said, hey, I should show them. And this is how it started. And now it becomes almost the second full-time job.
Now it's snowballing. Tell me, do I know that many bowyers and people, they send you samples. Do you actually have all those bows now, like a collection, or you send them back, or what, you sell them? What do you do?
It's very different. A few I keep, a few I sell, so it's very different. But I'm not a collector by any means, because I have bows and I don't shoot them for 1 year, and then I think, why shall I keep this bow? Right. Somebody else should have this. He shoots it on a weekly basis. That's why the bow is built for, and not for hanging somewhere in a or somewhere for 1 year and not use. So that's why mostly I give them away. Right.
Okay, that's very generous. I remember when I first started doing archery, was very interested in traditional archery, and a friend of mine and myself, we went to visit. First, we went to Kashai's Valley, and they had a small bow shop there. And we were young and so enthusiastic. So we kind of bought so many different types, but obviously we didn't know too much about bows. And then later on, we went to visit Csaba Groza in also Hungary, and we learned a little bit more about, different types of bows, etc. So at one time, I remember I had like a crazy collection, maybe like 10 or 15 bows. It was silly. And I looked at them one day. I said, all right, this is not right. I need to I need to minimize and you know, it's not right that I have so many bows and I'm not using them. So I said, right, I'm going to pick 2 or 3, and then the rest of them either sell them or give them away. So like you say, it's only right that the bow is made to be used. You can hear me?
Yeah, now I
Okay,
can hear
good.
you.
All right, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, so you said that most of your archery is self-taught. You said in the beginning you were self-taught.
Yes. All my archery is self-taught.
Ah, okay. So over the years, you didn't necessarily find a teacher or anything. It's just researching yourself.
I'm a good observer, and of course, when I started when I was 15 years old, I did everything wrong you could possibly do wrong. I ruined almost my muscle back there because I shot a way too heavy bow, but I was so crazy about shooting.
Yeah.
Did everything wrong, and you know, over the years you refine your shooting techniques and you figure out the hard way. I wish I would have had a teacher like mine. In 1 hour, I would have came a long way, which took me years and years of wrong practice. But this is how life is. Where I came from in Bavaria, there was not really instructors, and I simply did it for myself, and then it's
Did you ever try, were you always traditional, or did you ever try recurve or compound or anything?
Don't tell anyone, but my first bow I got when I was 15, my first contact with archery, it was a traditional compound bow from Fred Bear. But it was from the shelf, so not with sight or stuff like this, shoot instinctive, but it was a compound bow. But I never liked it that much. And then, of course, I had recurve bows and I had long bows, the modern ones with pistol grip and all this, and takedowns. This is how I started. When I started giving courses in Germany, I had a few takedown bows because they are more convenient to carry around. But I got in contact with all these nice, what they always call horse bows. So these reflex bows, and this is where my heart goes. From the Turkish Ottoman bows to the long munch. My thing.
Excellent. No, that's excellent. I must commend you.
Again?
Yeah. So I can hear you. The YouTube site you have is an amazing resource. So many different types of bows and reviews and things like that. It's very, very, very useful. Tell me, you did a recent video. You were asking some of your students why they do archery, and everyone has a different reason and opinion. For yourself, what do you find in archery? Is it for you? Like I was talking to some other people recently, and for some people it's just merely a sport, but for other people it's more like a discipline. It's more a part of their meditation. For some people, part of their religion, etc. For you, what is it? Where does archery sit for you?
For me, it was never a sport. I mean, I'm a martial artist in Chinese Tai Chi and all this stuff, and for me, it's simply bow and arrow is another kind of weapon I use in martial arts. That's why my approach is a little maybe different from others. I don't stand completely upright. I have more this fighting stance when I shoot. So for me, it's always a martial art, and of course, depends how you shoot. It's a meditation, and it's always simply a way to challenge myself. So I'm not competitive. I don't go to tournaments and I want to win, or the other one will win. So this is not my cup of tea, so to say. I like to. It's a challenge for me. It's a competition against myself, my ego. When my ego is too loud and too dominant, then I most probably don't shoot very good. Instead, when I'm calm, when everything in me is in harmony, then my shooting experience is true. This is my own inner experience, which matters for me.
So linked to that, you mentioned that some other martial arts that you do, Tai Chi, you said, or some other stuff. What other martial arts have you done, and what level did you get to? A very high level?
No, I was never in a high level. I was interested in meditation, but I never saw really the purpose of sitting somewhere in a corner, closing the eyes and sitting there for half an hour. And then I read something about the Tai Chi is meditation in motion. And this is what I liked. So I got into Tai Chi and a little Bagua, and this is Chinese martial arts.
And for you, Yeah, and for you, there is definitely a connection with the other martial arts and archery. It falls within the same area of martial arts, right?
Definitely, definitely. First of all, you need to have always the same stance. You use your whole body. When you do something punch, you use your whole body. You don't only throw your arm away. So to handle any other weapon.
Yeah, yeah. The current range that you have, the venue, is it only outdoor or you have indoor as well?
I have right now only outdoor range. I had a small indoor range with the shop. You're not done? Oh, we got stuck again.
No, I can hear you.
I had an indoor range. I had an indoor range for almost 5 years, but they closed the shopping mall, and so I had to move out. And here in Malta, it's almost impossible to get now something indoors because the rents are astronomically high. So for an archery range, you know, I would need to charge whatever 100 euros an hour.
Yeah,
I can afford. That makes
too much.
That's why only an outdoor range.
Okay,
but the nice thing in Malta. The nice thing in Malta, you can shoot almost 12 years outdoors, so that's why it's fun. Yeah, no, luckily,
luckily the weather's very good, so you could be out. I mean, in the winter, I don't think it gets too cold. It's still quite warm there, right? In the winter
exactly.
months.
We have some rainy days where we can't shoot, but the rest is always fine. It's always 15 degrees something. When the sun comes out, even in December, we have 20 degrees, so it's always fine. And I have more business in winter than I had in summer.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, that's good. So at the moment, a rough number, how many people come through your archery range on a weekly basis, for example?
Yeah, right now, no one.
Oh.
I was shooting 2 weeks ago or something with a few friends, and I accidentally posted these photos on Facebook, and then directly they blamed me, and then I was in the TV news what company I am because I don't follow the COVID rules. And directly next day police was there, and I get fined now for shooting with a few friends on my range. We really took care about distancing. Nobody was close to each other, and we didn't have more than a people there. But it's, you know, some are like this. I spare my comment to this because we don't talk about this. But usually, it always depends. We usually have on weekends in the morning the regular shooting where our regulars come. Always depends, roughly 20, 30 on a weekend. And then in the afternoons, we have groups, team buildings, parties, hen parties, deck parties, tours, scouts.
Great.
So it's quite a lot, yes. So in all these 7 years, I guess we had more than 70,000 people at the range.
Wow, that's amazing.
New ones, not the coming back.
Yes. Okay, excellent. Which part of Malta are you in? My geography is not great of Malta, but I don't know. Are you in the north or south, or which part?
It's quite central. It's quite central, so it's quite easy to reach from all sides of the island.
Right, right. And it's not a very big island, right, Malta?
No, it's very small. We have only 400,000 people living, so it's quite small.
And the type of people that come, I think you have native Maltese people, or you have, I think there are many kind of foreigners who are working there, or they have family there as well, right?
Totally mixed. Yeah, we have a lot of foreigners here, and my audience is completely mixed. I have a lot of Maltese, I have a lot of from UK, from Australia, Germany, so whatever who lives here and they want to join archery. Yeah, of course. Very, very mixed.
That's great. Do you have any, is it just you that run the range itself? You don't have like an assistant or anything? It's just you yourself running it?
I have 2 assistants. I have a full-time assistant. Andy is a guy from UK, but he married here in Malta. Maltese wife years ago, so he lives here longer than me.
Okay.
And he was a stuntman in many movies and instructor for stunts. And I got in contact where there was a film going on, and I was the archery instructor for the actors. And I met him there, and then he came to archery, and this is how it started. And one day he started working for me, and since I think 5 years he works for me, and now we have a new one. he will join in and take a bit more of the background, all his administrative works and stuff.
Okay, great. That's good. Yeah, obviously, as things grow, it's very difficult for you to do everything. So it helps to have assistants and helping you.
My problem is I started giving courses abroad, especially thumb release courses, and they are in Netherlands, Germany, whatever, everyone. And mostly no weekend at the range anymore. So I need to have these two people, reliable people, which I can trust, and they run the range when I'm not there.
I see.
So that's
right.
that's the whole issue.
Okay. So okay. So how long have you been going abroad and doing courses for?
Yeah, we started last year. In March last year, I started on a regular basis. So I went to Germany, gave a course, was fully booked, and then I went to the Netherlands, fully booked, and yeah, so it starts growing. And even for this year, I was already booked. I had to skip already 3 courses in the Netherlands, in Germany, and in Austria because of the circumstances. Yeah.
We'll talk maybe a little bit more about the COVID later on.
Better not.
Only joking. So on your courses, how do you run it, and how many people can come on a course, and how does it work? Maybe we can consider having you come to the UK after all of this mess is over.
Yeah, it always depends. When I go abroad, then it depends on the location the one in charge has. So when I was in Germany, I said there was a small indoor range with 5 shooting lines. So I said they're not more than 15. So then they shoot alternating three groups, so to say, so I can teach them. But usually there are 10 to 20 people. It always depends on the location, how many shooting lines you have. I can handle 20 people, it's no problem. Always depends a bit on the location.
Yeah. Okay. And this year, I mean, maybe after the summer when COVID is finished, hopefully, do you have courses booked later on in the year?
Yeah, I have still 1 or 2, I think, for one in Germany and 1 in the Netherlands, which we still didn't cancel because it's in September, October. So I think until then we should be fine finally. And I need to, of course, redo all the courses I had to cancel in this last weeks or something. So I need to replan them for autumn.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Getting tight a bit there. But
sure. Okay, moving on to, like you said that you're self-taught and you kind of made many mistakes yourself and tried and tested, etc. What is your preferred technique of shooting now, and why?
I love thumb release, thumb archery, and I like the Turkish, Arab archery, all they with the thumb release. This is my most favorite one, but always without thumb ring. As one can see, I have a really big colors because I don't like thumb rings, but this is my preferred way. So this is what I started with reefing Mediterranean. This is really traditional thing. And I guess more than 10 years ago, I got in contact with thumb release. I saw a video of Chinese archery. I saw Stephen Selby on a YouTube video with a manchu bow, and I was like, this is how a bow should look like. And I saw him shooting with a thumb. I stopped the video, ran out with bow and arrow and tried it. I was like, wow, I was like newborn, and then I'm into thumb release. I like the Persian draw too, where you have the arrow on the right side, but you draw with these 2 fingers. I like this one too, when I do fast shooting and stuff like this, but mostly I'm thumb archer.
And you don't prefer the thumb ring because why? It gets in the way, it's too big, or you prefer to feel the string?
First of all, I like to feel it, and second, most thumb rings get a little in the way. I have a nice one from Turkey. It's hard leather. It's quite nice made. I don't feel it when I shoot. It doesn't disturb me. But still, most of the time, I don't shoot very heavy bows. So up to 50, 60 pounds, I can shoot without a thumb ring, at least some arrows. I can't shoot 3 hours, 50 pound bow without thumb. Thumb will fall off. But mostly it's part of training. So 40 pounds, it's no problem.
It's fine, yeah.
And it's just that's simply me.
Yeah. Sometimes everyone's different. Some people I guess like to use even tape. If they don't use the thumb ring, they use maybe some tape. It helps them to last a bit longer.
I always take, when I give a course, I don't have it here now, there's this veterinary tape. It's you have it around, it doesn't stick, and it helps really good. You can put it off again, put it on again. It's very helpful. beginners that they don't, because some really have very delicate skin and get directly blister or something.
Yeah. In terms of the way you shoot, have you ever based it upon some of the the traditional techniques or the manuscripts and Saracen archery, etc., etc.? Did you ever look into that?
Yes, I read Saracen archery, read Arab archery, I read a few different ones. I read even a new book from Justin Mark, The Way of Archery, where he describes the Gao Ying method, which is nice too. I shoot every method, and whatever I like and what works for me is then my thing. So I'm not, I only do now Gao Ying, or I only do this one, I only do this one. I simply check what is out there, and what works for me best, I simply implement in my technique. So it's kind of mixed martial arts. And so I take hybrid shooting. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's my way of shooting, and I always make it my way. And this is how I teach my students. They first learn, of course, how I shoot, and when they develop then their own thing, and it works for them, it's fine for me.
Do you think it's very important that, because I guess there's an argument that in order to maintain tradition and history and culture, we should shoot the way they shot traditionally on history, but also sometimes finding new methods and new ways is also good, because we can explore different ways to push technique forward.
I think one should always honor their own tradition. Unfortunately, in Germany, we don't really have an archery tradition, so I can't speak for it. Of course, if I would be born in Turkey or something, I most probably would more stick to the Ottoman style shooting, which I mostly do. I mean, they shoot khatra, I shoot khatra, but there are a few different ways how to shoot, of course. And then, of course, the finger position is simply, there are different ways in Arab archery mentioned. I simply use the one which works for me. But yes, of course, one should always honor the tradition. But when you come up with something new which works better, why not implementing it? I mean, we are all here to grow, to thrive. So we should not get stuck. It's the same like with Chinese martial arts, when you learn it in Wudang Mountains, and they bring you there. But I mean, these teachings are whatever 2,000-3,000 years old. You know, humans evolve, and you know, you get something out of it, make it your own.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. Do you have you ever tried, or do you practice horseback archery, and what are your thoughts on that?
I wish. The thing is, here in Malta, finding someone with a good horse, or even being willing to do this horseback archery, is a little tricky. I might go, when I have a bit more time, one day maybe to Austria, Germany, or join some horse archers. And of course, I would like to do horse, because I think this is the last stage in archery, that you need to be capable of shooting bow and arrow from a galloping horse. That's why, yes, this is on my in my checklist.
Bucket list, your bucket list.
Exactly.
Yeah. In the UK, we also have a similar situation. You know, there are many stables throughout the country, but every time we try to approach them, you know, and try to talk about archery and then horse archery, they become very scared. And I understand why, because they think the horse is in danger, etc. But we try to explain to them it's not like that at all. But there was, go on.
Same here. I gave up then, and then they come with insurance. My insurance doesn't cover it. And
that's right.
Yeah, and then leave it. So
it's too. Sometimes it's too much headache. So unless we know someone who has private horses or private land, you know, it can work. One lady we approached, she had a stables, but fortunately she was quite open-minded. So we explained to her horseback archery and the benefits, and she said, well, she would like to try it for her horses, because every day they are doing the same routine, walking, trotting, canter, walking, trotting, canter. So with the horse archery, it will activate something different for their brain, for them to think about. So that was only the one anomaly. Everyone else was like, no, we don't want to try it. So unfortunately, but
I understand.
You're from Germany. I don't know if you have come across Christian Schrader. Do you know him?
Christian Schrader.
Christian Schrader. He became Muslim. His name Abdul Majid. He was organizing a number of European horse archery competitions called IOCA in Europe. some time ago. In the early days, I think maybe in the 90s, he was studying with Kashai, and then he went his own way. But I thought maybe you're from Germany, you might have come across it, but no.
No, I was probably not so into. I said I'm always invited to all these events, but mostly I don't have time, and I'm not this. Most probably I'm not a social person enough to join all these things, so I don't know many people.
Okay. No, but I was just going to say he was, you know, he's kind of one of the what I view as maybe the older pioneers in establishing horse archery in Europe. And I had the good fortune to go and visit him when I first started in my archery story, my archery career. And he had a valley, and we went to visit him, and he had his own horses, so it was not a problem. But
Nice.
yeah, I think the key thing with horse archery is having your own horses, but that's it's not easy.
And here in Malta, I have no chance. Malta is very limited. It's very small. And if you want to have a place here that you can let a horse run for 100 meters and have your own stable, it costs a fortune.
Too much.
As long as I don't have someone who sponsors it, I'm not capable of. It doesn't make that much money, so you can't run it. So it's you invest, and you don't get in return something. So at least that it would be self-sufficient. It's not possible. So that's all.
Talking about funding or lack of funding, I see on your site you recently became, is it a Patreon participant? Tell us about that and why you decided to go down that route and how it works.
It was a suggestion from one of my YouTube followers, because many people are asking, oh, did you test this bow? Did you test this bow? Can you please test this bow? And of course I wish. And I still buy bows, because not every bow company, like a few, they know me, and I get now 2 new bows from Malaysia. I did one review for them, and they said, have 2 new bows, can we send them to you? But mostly I still have to pay for them, and it's always my private money.
Right.
So and then I said, listen, then I start this Patreon project, and with the money I make there, I do always, okay, which bow would you like to see? And then they can give me their suggestions, and then we do a poll, and the bow who wins, I will buy, and then I will do a review, and at the end there will be a giveaway, so the bow goes to one of my patrons.
Right.
And that works quite well since almost 2 years. It's quite nice, because I am able to test more bows, and I don't have to keep them, so I simply give them away again.
Right. Yeah. No. I think it sounds like a very good idea. Yeah. But your video about Patreon only came out recently, but you've been doing it longer than that. Is that right?
Yeah, I updated the video now because many ask me for online tutoring, and I offer this now. When you have a certain amount which you donate every month, then you can send me your videos. I will analyze them, and that's because people can't always come to me. I can't always come to the people. So we do it online. They take a nice video of themselves, and then I tell them, listen, focus on your shoulder or on your release, whatever, and then work for 1 week and send me the next video. So it's that we can progress with others which I don't personally meet.
Yeah. So I'm sure now this is taking up, I mean, this really is a full-time and taking up all your time. So you're doing bow reviews, and you're doing one-on-one kind of coaching, and then you're teaching at the club. So you're obviously very, very busy, right?
Yes, of course.
How often do you do a bow review? Do you schedule it once a week, or?
Always depends when I get a new bow. Sometimes I get, like in a week, I will get 7 new bows made out of from Austria, from a new bow builder, and he builds with rawhide instead of horn and sinew. Interesting. And then I get 7 bows, so then I will make a few more reviews, and sometimes, like now, I should have gotten from Alibo, China, long time ago, the new Turkish bow they build now, the new version, but it got stuck somewhere for 3 months. Nobody knows where. That's why I'm always depending what will finally arrive here on the island. And then when I have a new bow, I always make a review, and in the meantime, I fill them with some frequently asked questions or something. Yeah, what I come up. So excellent. But I try to have at least one bow a week as to review. This is the goal, or
when you in terms of the logistics of your recording and camera and everything, is there someone behind the camera? It's just you doing the recording and then you editing it to yourself?
I'm a complete one-man show. Yes. I set up my camera, stand in front of the camera, film everything, and I'm a one-take wonder, so I don't like to take a second take. So it works correctly, even if it doesn't work, I simply show it.
Yeah.
And that means I'm not perfect either. I sometimes miss the target too, and I simply leave it there, and then I edit it, and then I.
Sure.
So
yeah. No.
there is no camera.
I think it comes through the video that you're talking to the camera as if there is someone in front of you. It's very casual and like a conversation, which I think is good, and it doesn't seem you know, scripted or fake or anything like that. So
I never script my videos. I simply know what I want to test in a bow when I have something to say, and then simply what I'm this instinctive, intuitive person. What comes up then is for sure the right word, and I simply, you know, this is more like not overthinking which sentence. I simply start without thinking how to end my sentence, but mostly it works.
Yeah, excellent, excellent.
So this is simply me, how I.
That's great. What do you what program do you use when you are editing the footage?
I edit it on my iPad, which I have now here on, and I use LumaFusion. It's a very powerful video editor, working with the iPad Pro perfectly. You can edit 4K videos there, and it's easy for me, so I understand it easy. I don't like all this big Adobe Premiere or whatever there is on the desktop. Too much for me. And this perfectly does the job, because I can even do it on the go. When I was in Germany for the opening of an indoor archery range, and I took a lot of videos, and in the evening I plugged I filmed with my Osmo Pocket. I don't know where I have it now, the small Osmo Pocket with this gimbal on it. And then I plug it in, download the footage, can prepare it already. So it's for me easier on the go.
Excellent.
That's why more mobile.
It's called Luma?
LumaFusion.
LumaFusion. But that's only for Apple, for iPad, right?
It's only for Apple, yes.
Oh, okay. Everything is on Apple now.
Yeah, they simply need a certain power. So and the iPad Pro delivers this power. But my girlfriend, she even has a normal iPad, and she does her own video. She does this eco green, how do you call it? S-class stuff. So she edits her own videos now in the same way on a normal iPad.
It's all his fault.
Excellent. Always blame Armin. Always blame him.
Of course.
Or the man in general.
That's what you get.
Let me ask, I know we only have 5 minutes or so left. I just want to ask you a couple of questions.
No worries.
Before we go. I saw also on your Instagram, you have interest in photography, right?
Yes, this is my hobby. If I would not have become an archer, most probably I would be now a photographer.
Okay.
Yes.
What type of photography? Is there a particular genre, a particular style you like? And
what I like about this simply street photography, which gets more and more difficult with all this data protection. You simply can't take photos of people on the street anymore. It's a little hassle.
Crazy. Yeah.
I mean, in my past, I was a designer for houses, so I still have this fable for architecture. So this is one of my things. I like architectural photography, but even landscape, and sometimes with my girlfriend, we do some portrait photography or like a small story with 15 photos telling a story. So I'm quite open. So I'm not into wildlife or macro photography, but for the rest, I'm quite open. I'm interested in everything.
Yeah. Maybe I'm guessing wrong, but she is the one in the photographs on your Instagram, no?
Yes.
Okay. And I see it's like you're telling a story. Everyone is telling a story, right?
Yeah. Last time we did this story with the bride, and then she was disappointed, and then she ran around with a knife. We had this crazy idea, and basically with fake blood on the knife. And it was it's fun, and it's for me something to learn, because I do a lot of landscape and architecture, but portrait photography not so much, and that's why I'm happy to have that my girlfriend joins there as a model, and I can take photos and practice this skill a bit more.
Excellent. So you mentioned your background back in Germany is in architecture. Is it you are trained in architecture?
Yes, I was a draftsman for houses, and I was an expert for building damages and all this stuff until I gave up and started to become an archer. Long ago.
And good news for us that you did.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was a weird decision. I mean, the thing is, I started, and people asked me, you do archery, how is it? And then I started, okay, I show you, and then I show them, and then it became more and more. So, and then luckily I found a job. It was a half-day job at a construction company, and I was doing the house plans and whatever. And so I was half day there in the office, and the other half day I had time for my developing my archery courses and stuff like this. Right. And one day you can't put 100% of energy into different projects. I had to decide, okay, cut this off, and I only do archery. Since then it works reasonably. You don't, you don't make a lot of money, but you can live from it.
Sure, yeah. Someone that I knew, they used to work for a clothing company and in a warehouse, etc. But it became too much for them, and they were doing archery only on the weekend, and they only had one day a week. And then when the company asked them to also work on weekends, for them that was it. They said, "Look, I love the company, but this is it for me." So he left. So he wanted to pursue archery more kind of full time and things like that. So I think it's important that, like you say, even though you will not become a millionaire, maybe you cannot retire on archery, but at least you have, good quality of life, and you're happy doing what you're doing. This is important.
I simply live my hobby. So it was started as a hobby, and I live my hobby. So I don't work one day because it's my hobby.
Excellent.
That's why I don't feel my work as a work, and I always love it. And sometimes I think, oh, I have now a group of 30 school kids coming and headaches. But once you are there and the kids are there, and you see the sparkling in their eyes when they shoot the first arrows and they hit the target, and then, yeah, it's fine, and we really support all schools. We almost charge no money, that you can get a lot of kids into this, because I like this instinctive way that they get in touch with their own body, with their own instinct, intuition, and not only ego, mind blowing up the ego. So that's why when you see that it works and that they get the point and this instinctive shooting, then it's already worth it.
Yeah.
Then I'm happy.
Yeah, it's like something inside them clicked, and they discovered something new.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you have a large group, what type of equipment are you using? I mean, you're teaching traditional archery, so do you have a large range of maybe the snowpick, the black reflex bows?
We have black recurve bows. They are from Archery. It's called the snake recurve.
Yeah,
this bow is available as a kids version in 15 pounds and as a teen or adult version in 18, 22, and 26 pounds. And we have them here. We have 20 small ones, 30 big ones, and for everyone.
This is the one. It has the double shelf. This one, yeah.
Exactly. There's two shelves, so it doesn't matter if you shoot right hand, left hand, or you shoot Mediterranean or thumb release. You can do everything. Oh, and it's a one-piece plastic. It might not break that quickly.
Yeah. No, it's a very good bow for beginners and people to have a go. It's very good.
And for the money, it doesn't get any better. Exactly. So, and we have them. Since I started here, I have them. Of course, they get weak. So the first ones I had 22 pounds. I have now 13 pounds. So this plastic simply over years, a lot of usage loses its power, but then you replace them.
Yeah.
So, but they are good.
Yeah.
And I like that they still have an arrow shelf because it makes life a little easier for the beginner.
That's right.
I have now this nice one-piece plastic Ottoman bows from Turkey. They are nice too, but then they shoot from the hand. They do something wrong, then the feather is scratching the hand.
Yes.
And you have a lot of hassle, and then they don't like it anymore. And so, see you soon.
Can you take this one?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
So,
Bye.
me too. Need to edit. Bye. She's leaving now. I need to pick.
The boss is leaving.
The boss is leaving. Now we can talk.
But those bows with the shelf is very good. It makes it more stable for the arrow and easier for beginners to be able to shoot properly, and they enjoy it.
Makes sense. And
yeah.
That's why we have them since 7 years. I sometimes thought about changing them because they are Sarmat Archibald's nice bamboo bows. They have 2 leather flaps on it. They would do the same job, but I have the plastic bows and it's fine. And for me, it's always, I have 18 shooting lines. So at least I need to have 18 bows of each kind.
Right.
So that's why for me it adds up. So and that's why a difference of 20 euros or 30 euros between a bow is for me then already 600 euros.
A lot.
So
Yeah,
that's why
definitely. Yeah.
you always need to see what works and what does not work.
Yeah. So for yourself, you mentioned your preferred poundage is between 40 and 50 pounds. You like to shoot?
Exactly, yeah. This is what I feel most comfortable. I can shoot for an hour. It doesn't tire me too much. And I like, of course, I can shoot a 60 pound. I can maybe shoot a 70 pound, but it's not fun for me. So I like 40 pounds and the arrow has a nice speed and it's just nice to shoot. So
yeah,
I am more this, recreational archer, and I don't need to shoot a warbow now to feel like I'm a real archer.
Yeah. I was going to say, are you interested in flight archery or shooting heavy bows? But probably not. You're just happy with enjoying that poundage.
If of course you can build up, everybody can build up the muscles you need for shooting heavy bows, but I'm too lazy for that. Then I'm happy. I don't shoot that often, so and for me then 40, 50 pounds is fine.
It's fine. I recently did an interview with Alperen Alkan from Mamluk Archery, and you did a review of their Sungur carbon arrows. You were very pleased with them.
They are so awesome. They fly really good. But I changed now the fletching because a few of the feathers came off, and I have now these templates, and I put a Turkish military fletching on it. Now they fly even better.
Wow,
they're awesome.
So you improved them.
Yes, they improved, but I didn't tell them.
Did he send you their new Krim Tartar and Turkish bow yet for review or not?
No,
not yet.
No, okay. From them nothing.
Okay, maybe soon.
You always. Some people simply realize, like this guy in Malaysia. He was a complete no-name, but the bow was completely awesome. The bow he built, really, and afterwards he told me 2 months later, said, "Oh my God, I get so many orders, I can't even build so many bows. Thank you for your review. But I don't make this bow look good. When a bow is good, I tell it. When a bow is crap, you don't see it in my stuff."
Right.
So that's why, I mean, when I don't like a bow, you will see, you will hear it when I think, yeah, it has hand choke or stacks here, and I tell you. But when a bow is really crap or whatever, I simply don't show it because it makes no sense to make someone give me something and I make, oh, it's crap, it's, you can't use it.
Okay.
I simply don't do a review.
Okay. But the review...
I had one bow I got.
Yeah. Go on.
You first.
No, but the review you did for his bow was obviously a good one, so he got a lot of orders in.
The bow is awesome. Yeah.
He owes you commission.
Yeah. Should be, everybody should pay me commission. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Then I can live an easier lifestyle because right now my range is closed, but I still pay almost 1,000 euros rent for my green field I have every month. So
gosh.
They don't say, listen, you can't use it, you don't pay. Of course you have to pay. So.
That's right.
But this is what we have to deal with. I hope that in a few weeks.
Double standards, unfortunately.
Yes, of course. But this is life.
Yeah. So when you have a bow that doesn't really perform very well, that you said you prefer not to show it.
Exactly. I never had one like this, so every bow is still doing a job. Yeah. But I tell you, then it's for a beginner. Or I had once this asymmetrical Han bow from Jackal Archery, which was so fragile that when my assistant shot it, it snapped directly again because the limbs are so wiggly. Right. And then I told Jackal, I said, listen, this bow is really not for a beginner. It's even a pro like me needs to really take very good care when you string this bow. And still unstring, so it's really a tricky bow. I said, yeah, whatever, then tell them that it's for a pro. I said, okay, when you approve that, then I show it. Otherwise, it wouldn't. Yeah. And sometimes you need to tell, of course, I ordered once 2 Manchu bows from China, one for me, one for one of my friends, and he shot this bow not even half an hour and it broke. And then they did the refund. Yeah, when you order a new one, we get 50% off. Said, no, he didn't even shoot half an hour this bow, and it's a $600 bow. So you need to get him a new bow, and then they didn't get back anymore. And that's why I did a while ago a video about that bows break. And I never had any issues with a broken bow, be it Mariner, be it from all these Hungarian bow builders. When a bow breaks, They always send direct. So,
Mm.
but these Chinese companies, they didn't want to. That's why I had to make a video or something.
All the problems are coming from China.
Yeah, no, not really, not really. I mean, I have now one Hungarian bow builder. He is kind of acts the same. He simply ignores the fact that the bows break and he doesn't replace them anymore. So I had a little problem. That's why you don't see him on my channel anymore.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was joking, meaning we have the problem of some bad bows and also the COVID coming from China.
Yeah, I don't think so. But well, my opinion is
maybe, yeah, that's right. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, I see. I'm learning a little bit more about
mainstream media is one thing, and my feeling is another.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think there's a lot more to it, and it will only come out later on. But time will tell. There's another bow from Michal Kozmei, but he has like an asymmetrical bow. I don't know if you have come across this one.
You saw why it got stuck now, because you said COVID. And instantly some big brother was watching that. Wait, we need to stop this. Don't say it.
It's true. Okay, we don't talk about COVID anymore. All right, okay.
Exactly.
So
everything is fine.
So Mihai Kozmei, he's a horse archer from Finland, originally Romanian. Yep. I'm sure you know him. He came out with a new horse archery bow. I don't know if you have seen it. It's like slightly asymmetrical. The bottom half is like a Turkish style. The top half is a little bit longer, has a different grip. Have you tried this bow or seen this bow?
I tried both of his bows. He has one with a max draw of 32 inches and one with a max draw of 34 inches. They're incredible because he built the bow for the way he shoots.
Yes.
And this handle he has, it's usually a Turkish handle, but he has on the back support for the hand. Makes sense. And he has stacking at the exact length, and it's supposed to stack that you don't have to think when you reach full draw on horse. Then you really feel it stacking, and then you let go, and then this is one of the really good bows out there for the price, especially, and they're really good. Yeah. And my assistant still has the 34-inch version. Mihai only limited now the max draw to 32-inch of the 34-inch model, because happens like with many, they tell them, oh, max draw is 34, but then you really max the bow out and some break it then. Yeah. And that's why build a bow which does 34 inches and tell people draw 32, and it's fine. Yeah. Then the bow lasts at least, But it's an incredible bow, especially for the price, it's insane.
Yeah, no, the price is, it's not, I mean, compared to some of the other bows out there, it's very, very affordable. So he's done an amazing job. And like you say, it stacks at the right time, as if it's like a on a recurve bow you have a clicker which tells you when to shoot. So when it stacks it's like a reminder when
you feel it, and then bang, the string comes out of your fingers and you let go. So you don't have to think about this on your horse. It makes fully sense.
Yeah. And according to his view or his research is that although we see many of the historical Turkish bows, they look symmetrical. He said these were only flight bows, but for other type of shooting, they were actually asymmetrical. So do you think the fact that the limb on top is longer, this helps the performance?
I believe yes. I'm a very pro for asymmetrical bows. That's why even I had last time a bow coming from Indonesia. They built nice fiberglass bows, the craggy bow. I said, listen, build this one as an asymmetrical bow, because it's a very short bow, and when you hold the bow in the middle, you shoot always whatever 1.5–2 inches above the center of the bow. So then you knock maybe still a little higher that you don't scratch your fingers, and when you see what is left on the string on top and what is left on the string on the bottom, you shoot every symmetrical bow asymmetric. Now, when you have an asymmetrical bow, then the arrow is in the geometrical center of the bow, then you shoot symmetrical. And I think it's important that the string on both sides has the same length, or more likely the same length, and it's very short on the top. That's why I think asymmetrical bows have a lot of benefits, but of course most bow builders have difficulties building them, because you have two different limbs working. The upper limb needs to be way stiffer than the lower limb, and it's a hassle to build them. But even the Japanese Yumi, they're capable of building asymmetrical bows, so it's nothing new, nothing fancy. But I think it's the way to go. At least for me, I love asymmetrical bows.
Yeah,
they are maybe a little trickier to shoot when you don't know what you do, but once you get the hang of it, they are simply awesome.
But the majority of traditional bows out there are all symmetrical. Which ones can you remember that are asymmetrical? Other than we have the Japanese Yumi bow and Miha's one, are there other ones which are asymmetrical?
Yeah, you get from Ali bow, here's an asymmetric. I don't know, it's a Dunhuang or the Tangchang on one of these Chinese names. It's a slight asymmetrical bow. I mean, it's only a little. It's only these 2 inches which you hold, and the arrow is too high. Go a little lower. This is an asymmetrical bow. The Chakal Han archery, as I mentioned before, is asymmetrical. Now you get the Krabby bow asymmetrical. So yeah, a few were good.
Yeah, it was fine. Just someone that's fine. Sorry.
Okay.
My boss.
Oh, your boss, say hello.
No problem. Continue.
That's why not many, because many can shoot them, and I said it's difficult to build them. But I think in historical times, many bows were asymmetrical.
Yeah.
Because of this purpose that you shoot through the middle, you get more, I think, more efficiency out of it.
Yes.
I might do maybe an efficiency test of the Krabby bow, normal and asymmetrical. Maybe it's the difference. We see.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, couple questions left. Okay, we did Mihai's bow. There was one more question that I wanted to ask before that. Okay, so I normally finish with some kind of just quick fire questions for every person, and we see what they prefer. In terms of the style of bow, laminate or composite bow, which one do you prefer and why?
Laminate composite bow takes way too much effort to set up to get the brace right, and they are so laminated bow you string and you can start shooting.
Yeah.
With a composite bow you need to fix everything always, every time. After 5 arrows you need to check again, is everything straight, is the brace still the same? So you have a lot of hassle, but of course they have maybe a little performance benefits. My personal belief is if they would have in ancient times carbon fiber and glass fiber and all these glues we have nowadays, they would have already built laminated bows and not the hassle with sinew, horn, and wood.
Yeah, it's interesting point that, you know, the Ottomans or the Huns or whoever, they were always looking to find the new technology. So I think if they did have the materials that we have available today, someone was even telling me that they think that maybe the Ottomans would be shooting compound bow because it's so fast and efficient, etc. You know, it's the top of technology, so why would they not adopt that? You know, so it's interesting point of view. I have a question, but it's mainly for horseback archers. But I asked them what is their favorite track to shoot on. You know, you have Korean track and Turkish track, etc. But I know maybe you didn't do too much riding, but when you see horse archery, do you have a type of shooting that you like, the kabak or the Jamarki shot or anything like that?
Yeah, the kabak is nice. Jamarki is nice. I like the one where you have this one target where you first shoot over the horse's head, then you shoot sideways, and then you need to shoot backwards.
Yes.
Because this is, I think, the most versatile shooting. When you have a bunch of targets staying there, you only shoot sideways.
Yeah.
I think it limits yourself or your skills a little as an archer. But when you need to shoot forward first and then the target is passing back, you need to shoot backwards, then you get the whole range.
The whole range. It's more realistic. This
is what I would like to shoot if I would be on horseback.
This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the Hungarian track. They call it the Hungarian track. And this is what Kashai he shoots in his valley. But since that time, I mean, there's many different tracks. But yeah, this is I think Mihai Cosme also agreed that this is his favorite track.
Can I ask you a question quick before you continue?
Yes, sure.
Do you think that Kashai's style is historically correct?
Not necessarily. And I have every respect for Kashai. We went to visit him. He was the first person we visited, etc. But at that time, I was already researching thumb release. And we did start with finger, but then we moved to thumb because for me anyway, as you guessed maybe, as a Muslim, we think thumb release is closer to how the Muslims shot in the past. But that's just my preference. When we approached Kashai and we said, what do you think about thumb? He showed, because his right hand, he showed us his hand, no thumb.
a dog bit it off, that's why I had to shoot 3 fingers.
Okay. Now, I mean, I wonder if he did have a thumb, would he prefer that style or not? I don't know. But
I think, but even if, when you shoot Slavic, this Persian draw, you have the arrow on the right side of the bow and you draw with your 3 fingers. It's almost the same, but you save so much hassle in fiddling the arrows out of your fingers.
Yes.
Fiddling through the bow again, you have always a chance that you hurt yourself. And I did this once. I did once a video. I shot a styrofoam head, and I put these broadheads, this German Jäger from Berpo. I put them on it, and I held the arrows like I always hold them in my fingers and shot 2 fingers. And then I pulled 1 arrow out, and I cut almost 2 fingers off. So I think it's not really a correct way to hold arrows in your hand on your bow hand. There are other ways you can do it when the tip's up or whatever.
Sure.
There are different ways, but you have the arrow always on the right side of the bow, not on the left side. So I believe this having arrows on the left side and shooting 3 finger is not really something very historically
correct. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I think you know he's done amazing for reviving traditional horse archery, etc., etc.
Give you more for that, yes.
Yeah, but like you say, if you did have broadheads or things like that, it wouldn't work. I think his archery is somewhat leaning towards sport rather than maybe discipline. But he himself, he's a very serious guy. You know, he's spiritual in his own way, etc. But when he's riding the horse, he always prefers quite a slow horse. And he can shoot so many arrows off the horse, which is great, but that's not very realistic. In a battle situation, you're not going to be going so slow. You'll be going at full speed, and you have to be able to shoot quickly, you know. So, you know, some things are good about it, but I think other things can be improved. But who am I? I'm still a student. Okay, wood arrows or carbon arrows?
We shoot at the range carbon arrows, and I prefer carbon arrows. I built a lot of wood arrows, and they never flew properly. Recently, I got a bunch of wood arrows from Greece from a nice guy. They fly quite good, but I'm simply, I don't know. Carbons are a bit more lightweight. Depends, of course. When you shoot a heavy bow and you need heavy arrows with carbon, you max it out at a point. So you can't shoot a manjo bow, whatever, 70 pounds, because you don't find a carbon arrow which weighs 1,000 grains. So then you need bamboo. But then I would prefer bamboo instead of wood. I'm not a wood guy. I mean, I like these tapered ones, barreled ones, nice, pretty bows, and I built a lot of wood arrows. But for us at the range, we use carbon arrows because when you shoot with these cheap snake bows, 25 pounds or whatever, and you have heavy wood arrows, and in 20 meters you see them already dropping. So with a carbon arrow, it's simply more fun. Yeah.
They say that the bamboo is like the traditional carbon because it's very strong and light.
Exactly.
Yeah. But with the bamboo, it has the nodes in, you know, every few inches or something. So this can affect the spine as well. But I've heard bamboo is also good to shoot.
Yeah, with heavy bows, I like bamboo arrows.
Okay, big question. What is your? I mean, you are the bow expert in terms of trying out so many different bows. What is your maybe top 3 bows? We could say.
Top 3 bows. Good question. It's for me always. I always get new bows. I got last time a bow from Poland, which is it's a slightly reflex deflex long bow, but it looks like a piano. The finishing of this bow is awesome. Throws 34 inches, incredible bow. But my favorite, or the bow I shoot most, is right now the Raptor by Simon's Bow Company. It's like a Tatar design bow.
Right.
Very good. Then I like the Keshik from Alipo is one of my favorites with the long stiff sears and a short bending section. And then I like all the Ottoman bows. And I have a few from Simsek still. They're incredible. I like that.
You tried some of the Vey bows?
Weg?
Yeah, Weg. I think Weg.
Yeah, I had them in early times. Yes, they are very good. They don't have hand shock. For me, it's only how they approach their resellers is what got me then a little away. And I had in Germany the guy who was selling the bows to me and the targets to me. And yeah, when they act in a certain way with the business partner, with human in general, then I prefer not to deal with them.
Okay. What about?
But
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, but they're good. And what about with the first interview I did was actually with Lucas Novotny. Obviously, he's well known. And I'm sure you've tried his bows. Of the bows you tried, which ones do you like?
Novotny, I never had.
Never tried Lucas Novotny bows. Saluki bows?
No, never. Way too expensive for me.
Ah, I was sure that I saw one of his bows in one of your videos, but maybe it was another make.
Navalny. Lukasz Navalny. It's another bow builder. He builds an amazing Saracen bow, and that was one of my Patreon bows. And I wish I could have kept this bow. He was tillering. He was flattening out the limb, not in the width, in the thickness on different portions, that this bow gets these curves. And such an amazing bow. It's 500, 600 euros most probably, but that's an incredible bow. If I would have the money, I would buy a bow like this. But for me, simply always a limit. You really need to convince me that I pay more than 500 euros for a bow. Yeah. And when I see I get a K-shake from bow, $330 free shipping, and this bow is fun. I'm not sure if a bow with double the price is double the fun. So that's why I'm a basic guy, you know. I never had from Novotny. I never had a bow from him.
Oh, okay.
Maybe my patrons will vote one day for a bow of him, and then I will get one and give it away.
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps.
Most probably they are one of the best bows.
Yeah, no, for sure. Some of our friends tried them, and they're very, very, very happy with them. And many of the horse archer guys in the horse archery world, they shoot his bows, and they're very happy. Okay, last question, Mr. Armin. If theoretically you were able to travel back in time, which archery period would you like to be resurrected in or live in?
Yeah, well, somewhere in China, the Han Dynasty or something, or when the Mongols came. I think all these times were interesting, where they used bow and arrow as the major weapon. I think every age was interesting to see and to experience. So even the Ottoman, when they invaded Malta, but they had already crossbows, it was a little too late. But yeah, somewhere there in Asia, somewhere around there, I would be most probably. Persia down there somewhere. Excellent. Yeah, but time frame, wherever they use bow and arrow, I'm happy.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a very difficult question. Many people, I leave it to the end because it's very difficult for them to choose a particular time. But there are so many times in history where the bow and arrow has made the difference between winning or losing that it's hard to choose. But Armin, I would like to thank you for your time. It's been a very great opportunity for me to speak with you and learn so many things from yourself. I wish you all the best for your club and for your archery range, and I hope that we come out of this COVID situation and everything is back to normal. But who knows the future? We don't know. But we appreciate all your time with reviewing the bows and all of the things that you're doing there. So we hope God will protect you all there and keep you going. And maybe we can do a part 2 sometime in the future. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much for having me on your show. You're really a nice guy. I enjoyed talking to you, which I usually don't do because I don't like interviews. But it was really a nice, pleasant experience with you. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Excellent. Great compliment. Thank you very much, Armin. See you soon. Thank you so much.